Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. This is a Saturday edition. I am your host, Coach Paul Tripoli. Coach Tripp, to my players, where I had 8 great years at Catholic, 5 fantastic years at Tate. Special guest on the show today, former teammate of mine at Bama, Chris Mohr. Chris, thanks for joining the show, buddy.
Hey, man. Good to see you, Paul. It's been a few years.
It has been a few years, man. I'm so proud of you. I followed your 15-year NFL career. You grew up. Let's start from the beginning, buddy. You grew up in Thompson, Georgia, and a lot of people don't know that's the exact same hometown as Hall of Fame punter Ray Guy. Holy cow. Did you hear about that when you were younger?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I got a picture of he and I when I was 8. He would play the golf course. It was on the golf course in Thompson. When he came home in the off season, and everybody, when he came home, everybody knew he was home. So I'd always go hang out at the club until he came by and I got to snap a picture with him. But yeah, he was a great athlete, great punter. And, one of my mentors, following him and, he invited all of us to the Hall of Fame induction, which was a great time. In fact, that's the last time I saw him alive was at the Hall of Fame. But yeah, he was a great inspiration to me for sure.
Holy cow. Did you get to spend time with him when you were younger? Did he, I know later on.
No, not really. I mean, he wasn't like that. I mean, he never worked with me punting and that's just the way he was, I guess. But, not that I didn't ask him, I did, but
golfing?
Just watching him was, you learned a lot from that.
Golfing, is that where you got? You grew up. For people who don't know, Thompson's only like 30 miles west of Augusta. Is that where you got your love of golf? How'd you love golf as much as I did?
Oh yeah, that was for sure the inspiration. I actually worked there in high school during the tournament and stuff, and and played golf probably since I was about 7 years old. And it's like my favorite sport, really, and it's just the most difficult to me.
Yeah, it's very difficult. That's why I like it. Such a challenge, man.
Yeah.
I remember playing golf with you in the old course there at Bama a few times. Hey, let's start. Talk about your mom and daddy growing up in Georgia. And I know you played quarterback and DB, safety, and punted in high school. Talk about growing up in your youth sports and the different sports you played.
Well, I played them all. When I was coming up, we didn't have soccer or anything like that. We played the usual, played church league basketball and then little league baseball all the way up and then to high school, football season. And then, so I grew up 60 miles from Athens, Georgia. So I grew up red and black. And I went to their camps every year. And going into my junior year, after my junior year, going into my senior year, I played safety, like you said, and quarterback and punted, but they were recruiting me as safety to play Terry Hogue's position.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, they offered me a scholarship before my senior year even started. So I didn't even answer any other questionnaires or anything because it was a done deal, right?
Yeah.
Well, 2 days before signing day, I was sitting in my classroom there at Briarwood Academy, and our secretary comes in and says, "Hey, there's a coach that wants to talk to you on the phone." And I was like, well, it's them probably saying what time they'll be here Wednesday because signing day was Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got in there. It was Coach Bill Lewis, who was the defense coordinator and the secondary coach. He was on the phone, and he said that, Chris, man, I hate to tell you, but we've overcommitted on scholarships and want to see if you can walk on, if you prefer to walk on. At that particular moment, I didn't know what to tell him, because like I said, I hadn't answered any other questionnaires or, or done anything. I hadn't visited another school and so my high school coach was out of town that day. And when he came back in on Tuesday, he called around the SEC and he called Auburn first, and thank God they didn't need anybody. And he called Alabama next, and Rocky Felker answered the phone, and they had heard about me, but never seen me play or anything. Mm-hmm. Well, within an hour and a half, Coach Felker was at my high school, which is a 4-hour drive.
Wow.
So he came to my high school. That was on Tuesday, and watched me punt and throw and shoot basketball and do some other stuff, and and then, that somehow they had 3 scholarships left, and this was on Tuesday before signing day. And so they on Wednesday, me and my high school coach loaded up and struck out to Tuscaloosa, and I'd never been to the state of Alabama, much less Tuscaloosa. Man, that first ride was the longest ride. It took forever. And then, so we came over here to Tuscaloosa and met Coach Perkins and staff, and probably met you. And I went out with Kurt and Mike Shula.
Yeah.
And so we toured and everything, and then they offered me a scholarship. And on Thursday, me and my coach drove back to Thompson. And then on Friday, Steve Hale flew in and signed me on that next Friday. So it was a busy week for me that week. I had a roller coaster ride up and down, emotionally, but it all worked out for the best.
Yeah, it does,
I saw Coach, I saw Coach Dooley a number of times at different charity functions and stuff, and he always remembered, and I always thanked him. I was like, I appreciate you, man, because if I'd have come here to play safety, I don't think I'd have played 15 years in the league, or 1 year in the league, much less 15. But so
my God,
asked about it.
Chris, that reminds me of my story. I wanted to go to Syracuse. It was my hometown. My dad went to school there. My coach, George O'Leary, went right up to Syracuse, started coaching the D line. 2 of my teammates went up there, and they said I wasn't good enough to play there. So I know exactly how you feel, man. I had to walk on at Alabama. Nobody was giving me a ride at the last second. But right. Yeah, I see Coach O'Leary, and I thank him for not taking me up to Syracuse with him.
Yeah, I bet. You had a much better college life too down here for sure.
Oh my gosh, Alabama was the king of football.
Harry Syracuse passed away about a couple months ago.
All right, so let's take it from there. You have a great career at Alabama. My God, you started 4 years there. Let's talk about some of the good years and some of the good games that you remember at Bama, and some of the great memories, because it's hard to remember every game. That's why when I coach kids, Chris, for years, I told them, when you go to college and play college ball, keep a journal, because when you get old like us, you'll forget, but your kids and grandkids will forever have it. Talk about some memories of Bama.
That's right. Well, one that sticks out first in my mind, and you'll see the irony when I tell you, and you remember it. Well, no, you had graduated. So my first game punt, I got redshirted your senior year. So
right.
I traveled with y'all, which helped a lot for me being able to get ready for the next season. But our first game was against the University of Georgia, September 6th, I think, on Monday Night Football. Remember that? And we had a 4-point lead with a minute and 10 seconds or so to go in the game, and we're punting from like the 25-yard line, and Georgia had a 6-man rush. They had the gunners covered and stuff, so they didn't even have a rush on, to be honest with you. Well, Gilbert, what's his first name?
Yep. Greg Gilbert.
The linebacker.
Greg Gilbert.
Greg Gilbert. He was a freshman too. This was his first game, and he was playing left guard. And so they had, like I said, they only had 6 guys, which should be no problem. Well, Greg took the wrong guy, and thinking the center was going to take Mike Webster. Not Mike Webster, but that linebacker Webster, who had a dang wingspan, I don't know how long. Well, he came through and nobody was blocking him, so he just kept coming, and I never felt him really. And I punted, and it was like a boom boom. And man, it was like somebody put loudspeakers in my ears like this, because we've been ahead of Georgia the whole game. And I turned around, that ball was going straight to the end zone, and they went and fell on it in the end zone for a touchdown and went up by 4. And then Mike Shula, I think it's 52 seconds left and we got the ball, and Mike threw 6 straight completions. I was on the bench crying now. I got a picture of it. and Cornelius had his arm around me going, man,
Did he?
it wasn't your fault. He was like, come on, we're going to win this game. And I kept hearing the crowd, getting quieter and quieter. And I, went up to the sideline, and sure enough, here we go. And about 2 more passes, Mike threw it to Al Bell over there, All-American safety Tony Flack for the go-ahead winning touchdown, which was unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, you were
and
drafted.
My first Auburn games would probably be next. That same year, I actually had broke my ankle against Southern Miss the game prior to the Auburn game, and those nice pony shoes I used to put us in. Remember those shoes?
Yeah, I remember.
Terrible. And anyway, this guy was coming. When I went to make a tackle, my ankle rolled in my left shoe, and went in there, and it was broken. I broke my fibula. Well, Coach Perkins came in and said, "Do what you got to do to get it ready." So they made it where it didn't hurt. Put it that way for the second half. But I was able to finish the second half, and then so my first Auburn game's coming up, and the fibula bone, it doesn't control anything but left to right movement. When I punt, I'm basically just taking 2 steps.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I could do it, and Coach Perkins said he would wait till the Thursday before the game, which would have been about 10 days or 12 days probably since I'd broken it, to let it heal. And so we did that, and they put me in a walking boot, and I went out that Thursday and punted, and actually punted pretty dang good. I tell you, the biggest problem that a punter has is we tend to overstride, and when you overstride, that's when you get the bad drops and stuff. But
right,
with this broke ankle, it sort of held me back, and I took shorter steps, and
right,
so he let me play, and I went out in that Auburn game, and it was my best game of my career. I tied the school record, punted 5 times for a 52.8 yard average. It was just one of those dream games. Everything was just jumping off perfect. Like a judge machine.
People talk about playing hurt and playing sick, and sometimes you do have your best games. I've played sick a few times or played hurt, obviously. I played with a collapsed lung one time in Canada, man. I played the rest of the game with a collapsed lung, and
wow.
Had an interception. But I think sometimes you even focus more when you're hurting or a little sick.
Yeah, and your adrenaline, it kicks in, helps out.
All right, so you had a great career at Bama, and then you get drafted in the 6th round by Tampa Bay Bucks. You punt all year. Actually, Coach Perkins got you at one time with New York Giants punter Dave Jenkins, right, to help on your form because you're having a problem with your form.
He came to Alabama. Actually, your senior year had been my freshman year, and worked with me a few days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so really helped on my form because I had bad form and technique. So he helped straighten me out.
All right, so you got an amazing story. You go with the Bucks. Coach Perk cut me too after 1 year, so don't feel bad. 1 year.
Was it 2 weeks? Was it 2 weeks after he signed on your job security after you just bought a house? That's what happened to me.
No, it was
2 weeks after we bought a house. That's when I was cut. But like I said, it's in my testimony that things work out for a reason. I mean, if I'd have stayed in Buffalo, Tampa, I never would have ended up in Buffalo.
No, you would never would have.
From the outhouse to the penthouse with those 2 teams.
Those programs, the owners were just in the coaches, but yeah, that's God. God works in mysterious ways. He sends you blessings in disguise. You can't see it at the time.
That's
but
right.
Years later, you realize it.
See why it worked that way. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about going to the Montreal in the World Football League of American Football or whatever it was. I played in Canada in Toronto, so we played against the Montreal Alouettes, but I was out of the league by then. But talk about you traveling all around the world in like 10
Man,
months.
you talking about a crazy year. So yeah, I signed this league. This was the first year. This was the inaugural season, and I get drafted by. They got a team in Birmingham, right? I'm thinking, man, it'd be great to go to Birmingham. Well, I get drafted by Montreal, a French-speaking country. Now, if you can imagine me going from Georgia up to a French-speaking country, I learned bonjour, comment ça va, salut, merci. Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And I did a lot of pointing, you know. But I tell you, it was a great experience. You know, Montreal is a very clean, like New York City to me. And I mean, we stayed in town and then took the subway to the Olympic Stadium where we practiced and played. You know, which was you know, that was weird for me, but it was great. And I think that year, because after I played in Montreal, I signed with Buffalo. Right when that season was over, which was in June. And so we played 10 games with Montreal. That year I played 33 games. I played in 10 different time zones, like 3 different continents and 7 different countries or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was crazy because, you know, but as soon as and actually when I went to Buffalo, we went and played in London for, you know, a preseason game. Yep. So I had just been to London 2 months or 3 months prior playing with Montreal. But it was a great time, great experience.
Yep, that's another niche on your screen. Buffalo, Cleveland. You know, used to take a lot of Canadian Football League guys up there. Both of those teams back in those days. Hey, you got to see a different country. Yeah, Toronto was the same way as Montreal. A really clean, beautiful city. I loved it up in Toronto. Yeah, played there.
Yeah, we went to Toronto a lot when we were in Buffalo because it wasn't far from Buffalo.
Right.
2 hours.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're familiar with it, but man, you've traveled the world being a kid from small town in Georgia. I was never south of the Mason-Dixon line. When I left for Alabama, I didn't even know where Alabama was on the map. I was picking out Mississippi, Georgia. I didn't know where it was. And then you go north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
End up traveling all over the place.
Yeah, all right, played in Sacramento, and I played in Berlin, and I played in between those two. You know.
All right, let's talk about your Bills, man, and I want to start out. How did you sign with them? Did your agent did they see you kicking in Montreal, and then talk about the competition in Buffalo because I'm sure they had a couple punters in there.
Oh yeah, I mean they're coming off of their first Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, I really was skeptical about going at first because why would you just coming off the Super Bowl? Why would you want to do it? You know, change your team up.
Right.
And the more I talked to them, they just weren't happy with their punter at the time, Rick Tootin. And so Coach Bruce DeHaven came up to Montreal and worked me and our Bjorn Nitmo, who was our field goal kicker in Montreal, worked us both out. And then ended up, he invited Bjorn to camp also.
Oh, wow.
Sign him. But so I really didn't have any agent do anything on that. When I signed with them, I actually had a friend back home who's a lawyer who, you know, just did the legal work, I guess. Because, you know, at the time, I made $75,000 my first year in Tampa. Well, Buffalo offered me a 3-year, like $900,000 contract. Whew. And I was like, what? So So anyway, I ended up signing with them, and they actually had 3 punters in camp. And so that was the most grueling, tough competition that I've been through, as far as competition-wise punting at that level. And the only person I knew on the team was Cornelius, so I didn't know anybody on that team. And on there with all these superstars, all these egos and stuff. It was crazy,
God, what was training camp like? Waiting for that knock at the door and never getting it. I always
I know it was it was nail biting for sure. I mean, I did have one guy in the front office, and he would come around every so often and go, "You're doing good, kid. You're doing good. It's your job to lose. You're doing good." That sort of
somebody to encourage
like
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kept me going. And anyway, just, was blessed enough to win the job and, played on some great teams.
3 Super Bowls your first 3 years, dude.
I know. I mean,
holy cow. You know what?
Right.
I got to mention this, Chris. I saw you on Rick and Bubba, but I agree with you when you said it'll never be done again. 4 Super Bowls in a row. I'm sorry.
No.
You were right when you were comparing the Patriots dynasty. They didn't even do it.
If they couldn't do it, it can't be done. I don't think.
All right. So let's talk about those teams, man. Your rookie year. What was your welcome to the NFL moment? Something happened?
Well, yeah, Buffalo. So I'm punting. We're playing Detroit, and the wind's blowing about 30 miles an hour right to left, right across the field. And I'm like punting from like the 40, pooch punting. And my special teams coach always stands on the line of scrimmage, down there, and actually about a yard or two beyond the line of scrimmage, looking at the return team's defense or return team. And this wind comes and blows. When I go to drop the ball, it blows the ball straight left, and I catch about that much of the ball, the back end of it. And it shoots a straight line over to my coach, and he catches it in the air. He catches it line up. When I get over the sideline, I figure he's going to cuss me out or whatever. And he's laughing. He goes, "Welcome to Buffalo." So, Rich Camarello, a year or so prior to that, came to Buffalo leading the league in punting, and left in like 3rd place because he completely whiffed the ball, because it blew it off his foot. And he was actually in the end zone. I think it cost him a safety or something.
He got a negative yardage on that punt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
We got all kind of brutal weather.
I know.
Blizzards to sleet to,
What did you do to what was the coldest game you ever played in? And I remember my coldest game, and it was actually not high school from Syracuse or Canada. No, it wasn't any of those.
I know which one you're going to say.
You know which one I'm going to say?
Cincinnati.
Nope. Boston College, 1983 in Foxborough. We played Flutie, Doug Flutie.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't here that year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, your senior year, it was brutally cold, man. Brutally.
I remember y'all talking about that, but you remember that Cincinnati game too? It was cold and nice.
Yep.
But mine was 33 below. We were playing the Jets. Wind chill 33 below, and I think Frank Wright had he was our backup quarterback. He got frostbite in one of his big toes and stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Crazy cold.
Did you ever? What was it like kicking a football? Because when I that game I was talking about against Boston College, I blocked a punt. Anthony Smiley ran it back for a touchdown, but my hand hurt for 5 days, Chris, because it felt like it was so cold that and obviously the football is
hard as a rock.
Like a brick. Yeah, it's hard as a rock. It's like a brick. How did your feet?
I would tell our ball boys were pretty good about putting those balls up under their jackets, because they had kicking balls different, and they could pull that ball out.
Yeah.
So that helped a little bit, but still, yeah, you're right. Because, the first thing too that happens is the balls deflate some, just from that cold air.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to get the referees. Later on, when we quit controlling the balls and the referees took it over, we would have to get them to add more air to it because they were so flat.
All right, Chris, let's talk teammates. My favorite subject. You had a lot of Hall of Famers on those Bills teams, and I want to start out talking about Biscuit, Cornelius Bennett. Of course, like you said, he was your only teammate at Bama and Buffalo. Before we talk about Coach Marv Levy, talk about Biscuit, man. For what an athlete. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He played with Darryl Talley and then the Bruce Smith and those guys on the defense. Talk about some of those guys and some of the things that you remember about them, how good they were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cornelius was the first beast I've ever met, as far as an athlete, just raw, just cock strong, didn't really work out much, I mean, he worked out
fast, quick.
When people made him, and Derek Thomas was the same way. Derek didn't work out much, but he worked out when we had to have to do it. But as far as doing over stuff or working out or whatever, Cornelius was. I mean, the things he did on the football field were crazy. I mean, the speed. I mean, he could punt. I remember we would stand in the end zone at Bryant Denny. This was before any additions, and I'd stay there and punt until I finally punted one out of the stadium. And Cornelius would go over there. He could stand in the end zone and throw it out of the stadium. I mean, he could throw it about 80 yards. Yeah.
Yeah, and, he was a beast.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like a brother to me. He married me and Cindy back in October, this past October. He's an ordained minister now, so we got married up here in Birmingham and Hoover. And so I was trying to see if I had a picture of in here, but I guess they're all in the other room. But I'll try to go get one and show it to you. But spending all the time in Buffalo together and our families. I had 4 boys, and he had one boy and a girl, and they were pretty close to the same age. My youngest ones were, my oldest ones were a little older than them, but he and Kimberly are like family, and he's my brother. I used to carry him home. He never had a car when he played at Alabama. And I remember having to carry him home to Inslee from time to time,
Did you?
But he's loving life now, playing golf every day down in Miami.
Is he? Where's he living?
Down in Miami on the Intercoastal.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah. He's playing golf, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. We have to get together and play. So Derek Thomas was another teammate of yours at Bama, man. Tell everybody how good DT was.
Yeah, he was very special, too. I mean, his probably thing he had on Biscuit was his first 2 or 3 steps. I mean, he was so quick. And he was a man child, and
he was.
And what I mean by that, he was a man, and sometimes he would be a child. I mean, he had childish, because like in the Ohio State game, our first game, that was a kickoff classic, my freshman year and his freshman year, or redshirt freshman. But I don't know if you remember it, but he kept getting this penalty. He kept getting he would get back there to sack the quarterback or something and do something and get a penalty. And you remember that? He got like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But, and then he would, in that Penn State game when he like had 7 or 8 sacks, or, he was a man child for sure. Great guy. Right. I mean, I hate to see him. I mean, I went to his funeral too down, and that was a 5-hour funeral. I mean, it was. Oh
my gosh,
it was sad.
That was sad. What a guy. All right, Jim Kelly, man, you still go hunting with Jimmy, right?
We hadn't hunted in a while. I guess since he's had this bout with cancer, but we've hunted a lot together. Yeah, I pretty much started him hunting when I went there. He
Oh,
wasn't
did you?
into it. Yeah, he wasn't into it that much. And then we would always have to play Miami on Monday night. Seemed like that those first 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And we would always play them. And down there when it would be deer season was in. I just remember that because Jim and I would have our truck packed with all our hunting stuff. So when we landed, because when we got back from a Monday night game, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning, you know. And so we would just go. We hunted about probably an hour or so from the airport. We would just go down and go straight hunting when we got back and stuff. And we've been out west a few times, and so yeah, we've had a lot of good time. He killed. I used to have 1,500 acres in Georgia, and he came down and hunted. He killed the biggest deer anybody killed at my place. He got it, so that was good.
Have you ever seen gone hunting with Tommy Wilcox? He's got a great hunting and fishing show.
No, but he always says we go do it sometime. In fact, I need to let him know I'm living in Hoover now.
Yeah, because he's up there.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Some of the your kicker, Scotty Norwood, man. I mean, you know, he was there. You got there after he missed the kick the year before. Tell us what kind of guy Scotty is.
Yeah, I played my first year at Buffalo. I played with Scotty. He was a great guy. I mean, nicest guy you ever meet. And he, the way, the first of all, Buffalo fans are the best fans anywhere. You know, they're almost close to Alabama fans, which you don't hardly find in the NFL.
Right.
Lord, but that's all Buffalo has is the Bills and the Sabres, and so they got great fans. And after that first Super Bowl, when he missed the kick, they get back and go to the parade, and there's probably about 300,000 people out there. I mean, it was packed for Buffalo on it, and it was probably 10 below zero, you know, and so they still had this little. They went to the courthouse and everybody started chanting his name, Scotty, 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 until he finally came up and spoke, and just showing them that.
Yeah, just supporting them. Yeah, that's some good stuff. Gosh, you've your shoulders. How you tore a couple of biceps? How your shoulders doing, man?
They're actually better now that I've had shots in both of them.
Did you?
Yeah. You
still play a lot of golf?
I'm finally being able to get back into it because I had also had laser ablation done to nerves in my coming off of my lower discs off the facet that take away that feel where like you got vice grips around on your hips.
Yeah.
So it takes that sensation away, which really helps a lot.
Football's brutal, even on punters, isn't it?
Yeah. All those cleans and jerks with Coach Miller used to make us do. Good Lord.
My shoulders are shot from doing the behind the heads up and down on the back. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I got to ask you, buddy, did you ever get to play Augusta?
Yeah, actually, I played it quite a few times.
Oh,
I had
my God.
Close friend from Thompson was asked to join, and Mr. Boone Knox, and he invited me quite a bit. And unfortunately, he passed away. But, I was blessed enough to play it quite a few times. It's very unbelievable.
In 2001, you signed with your hometown Falcons, played 4 years there. Talk about those 4 years there.
Yeah, it was great. Like we were saying earlier, you don't know what plan the Lord has for you.
All right.
Well, at that time, my kids were getting at the age of where they needed to stay in the same school system,
Right.
And so we were debating whether to stay at this time in Buffalo year round or have them stay in Thompson year round and I just commute, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Well, then the Bills hired Donahoe as a GM, and as soon as his first thing he did was got rid of all us old guys. I've been there 10 years, and Steve Christie had been there 9 or 10 years, and a bunch of us he let go, you know. And actually, Bruce went to Washington, and Andre went to San Diego, maybe? I can't remember.
Wow.
But anyway, it just so happened that not much longer after that, and the 1st of March, the Falcons called because Trzynski had signed with the Kansas City for like $60,000 more, which was crazy to go to give up a dome to go to Cape.
Right.
But it opened up a door for me, and I went. They called me on a Thursday, and I drove up. I was in Thompson, so it was a 2-hour drive. I drove up there on Friday and punted for Joe DiCamillis and Coach Reeves, and they signed me that day. You know, and it was another great blessing because you know, Coach Reeves was a great Christian man. You know, great values, and like I said,
it was Coach Miller that was there, right? Coach Al Miller
Coach
was
Miller
there.
and Rocky were there, you know, so I knew a lot of people there. And but my family stayed in Thompson, and I rented a place at Lake Lanier Islands, which was only about 10 minutes from our practice facility in Flowery Branch. And Coach Reeves would let me, during the season, he let me go home as soon as we landed on Sunday nights from away games. And he would let me miss Monday meetings, which is, you know, just basically break down film and run.
Right.
And and then Tuesdays are off day, so I would have to be back on Wednesday morning for our first meeting. So I was able to go home on Sunday night, and I'd leave early Wednesday morning and come back for meetings, you know. And so it worked out great. And then on home games, they would come up and stay with me on Friday and go, you know, to the game on Sunday and stuff. So, you know, it couldn't have worked out any better, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have
Not to mention being able to punt in the dome.
You have 4 boys, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, I know.
Garrett,
my
I
youngest,
guess.
My baby turned 22 2 days ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Garrett,
Chapman,
Harrison,
Chapman.
Quinn, and Chapman. Garrett, Harrison, Quinn, and Chapman. Did Garrett get some of your punting gene?
Garrett did. He punted at Jacksonville University in Florida for Kerwin Bell, who I played with at Tampa. Did you play with him at Tampa?
No, but I do have one of my players that I coached. He went to Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville University, Division I over there. Yeah, no, I didn't. I was gone by then.
But anyway, he punted there and then had grade troubles, and then, believe it or not, once he came back home and went and did some online classes and to get his grades back up. And then my wife, Kim, at the time, was just going around looking for schools in that conference, you know, sort of that would allow his grade point average. And she finds this school, and she told me, she said, I talked to this coach at Erie Community College, and it's a 2-year school, and it really didn't dawn on me at the time when she told me that, because she had been looking at all different kind of schools, you know. There's a bunch of Erie counties, and then come to find, and the coach obviously knew about us, and it was the Erie Community College, which is in Orchard Park, New York. It's right across the street from Rich Stadium, from the Bill Stadium, is where this community college is. This is where, and Garrett actually played soccer there when he was 6 years old on those fields, 6 and 7 when they started soccer.
Oh my gosh.
And he was up there. I mean, it was talking about a small world. And he ended up playing 1 year up there at Erie Community College.
Oh, wow. Hey, what are you doing now? Are you writing country songs, I heard?
No, that was back in 06. One song wonder. It was actually about raising boys. Yeah, I See Me, but Travis Tritt recorded it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. So Bobby Beathard was my neighbor in Atlanta. He was our senior advisor to the GM or whatever. You know Bobby Beathard, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had rented a cabin right next to mine, and his son Casey Beathard is what has been the country music writer of the year numerous times. If you Google him, you'll see he's written for everybody. But so he and I were asked to be on the Rhubarb Jones show, and which was like a 40-minute ride from where we were. And so we got in the car and we were driving down, and I was telling him about this idea I had for a song, but I didn't know anything about writing music or anything. And I was telling him about raising boys, and he's got 4 boys and a girl. And one of his sons, you probably saw it in the news, he was stabbed in Nashville about 2 years ago, taking up for some girl.
Oh, my God.
And it ended up killing him.
Oh, my God.
And he played football at, I can't remember. His oldest son played quarterback at Iowa, and I think he's still in the league right now.
Yeah, I think he is.
CJ Beathard. And then Tucker Beathard is a singer. And I don't know if you ever heard any of his songs, but anyway, so Casey said, that's a good idea, And he said, let me take it home and I'll work with it. Well, this was probably back in October of that year. And the following July, he calls me and says, hey, I got the song finished. I'm going to send it to you. And so he sent it to me and I played it. And this was with him singing it, which he's got a great voice. I mean, my sister was over there crying first time she heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, man, that does sound good. So I sent it. Travis Tritt's a friend of mine, so I sent it to him just to see what he thought about it. And he liked it so much, he cut it. And
oh, wow.
It got to 32 on the charts, it was climbing every week. And Travis fired his label company. And when you do that, they take all your music off the radio. And so it's been dead in the water for about, I don't know, 14 years now. We need to get somebody new to cut it.
So what are you doing with your time, bud? You got to come down to the Panhandle and play golf, man.
Man, I will. I'd love to. We get down there a good bit now that I know you're there.
Yeah, call me.
I will. I do woodwork I get driftwood off of Smith Lake in Alabama and do different stuff with it. See this right here?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, beautiful piece. Oh, yeah, you do some stuff with that. That's cool.
Check this one out. I'm saving this for President Trump. I actually may send it to him next week. I got a buddy playing golf with him next week. Look at this thing.
Holy cow! Look at that.
This is how I found it.
Wild.
On the water, I cleaned it up.
It's a beautiful piece. All right, buddy. Hey, Chris. Hey, man. Thanks for taking the time. It's great to see you, man.
You too. And do you ever get up this way?
Not a whole lot. I try to go to a Bama game, though. For years, I was doing my show, my radio show at 12. Now I'm on podcast, so I can pretty much go to any game I want now. But I was doing radio and coaching high school for 15 years, so Sundays was taking up, 8 hours watching film on Sunday. So it was hard to get up there. But
oh, yeah.
Do you go to any Bama games? How many Bama games you go to?
We go to a lot, man.
Do you?
Yeah, we need to talk because I'm working on something for us, all us ex-players.
Oh, are you? Oh, great. All right, I'll call you. I'll call you when I get done, bud. Thanks, man.
All right. Hey, buddy. Take care.
Appreciate you, buddy.
See ya. I was trying to talk to Cornelius.
Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon, bud. Wow. That was great. Chris Mohr, my old teammate, 15-year NFL punter from small town Thompson, Georgia, the same whole town as the only Hall of Fame punter in the NFL, Ray Guy. Great story. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Everybody have a great sports weekend. So long.
Hey, Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
Step One works so hard to get you in the perfect car.
Looking for a better car buying experience? With the Step One Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step One supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step One Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.
75 years of service and high-tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High-tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.